So I am finally going to be doing a Draw My Life video for you. This is going to be a very brief summary of my life since 14 years is kind of hard to put into about, I think this is 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something around there, so here it is. Okay, so my family has 7 people. There is my dad and my mom, and both my parents are just absolutely great. I couldn't ask for better parents. And then, of course, there's me, and I am technically the oldest. I'll explain that later on. What is this picture of me? I'm not even sure. Even when I drew it, I knew it was bad. So on September the 5th, 2001, the year of Paris Hilton, Snooki, Shakira, kind of Madonna, and wearing lots of pink on your lips. I was born. The stork brought me to my house, and my parents were overjoyed. My mom and dad said they both cried. My mom and dad probably for different reasons. Um, and I was the baby of the family, and my parents loved me a lot, and people flew in to see me, and I was by myself for 4 years, and now I have a family of 7. At the time, we lived in Kitchener-Waterloo, and my parents owned a restaurant named Exco Pottsville for 2 years. And I don't really remember the house that we lived in too well, but I know that it was a house, and it was in Kitchener-Waterloo, and I was born in Grand River Hospital. And we're a Catholic family, so I had a big baptism, which was actually my first birthday, and I remember having, well, I don't remember, but in pictures, I had a pretty cake with flowers on it. So it was just before we moved to Oakville that my Nana died, and I don't really remember her too much because I was only 2 years old, but I know my dad was really upset, and I was kind of confused. All I knew was no more Nana. And I think it upsets me more now because my siblings never got to meet her. So somewhere around there, we ended up moving to Oakville, where my dad and his brother opened up a restaurant downtown called Brasserie Royale, and we lived in an apartment because my aunt lived in an apartment, and I loved going to her house, and I was convinced that was the coolest thing ever. My dad kind of hated it. Around this time, I was 4 years old. My papa passed away too, and my dad and my mom were both very sad, and I was 2, and I actually kind of understood, and I went to his grave and told him to wake up. So then, shortly after he passed away, my sister was born, and she is a devil angel, and oh geez, not fun. She was tremendous, but we lived in a house where we had a cute pink Barbie car, and we played pretty well. And actually, there was this thing at the top of the stairs in my house, a chair that in a corner where my sister and I would hide. My parents would play along, pretend like I didn't know, but they totally knew. So there was me, my sister Harlow, and my sister Sophia, and we all lived in actually the apartment. And then we lived in we lived in Falling Green Drive together, and then we moved to Milton just before my little brother was born in January. If you move in the cold, it's a bad idea. When I was in grade 3, I went to OLF, Our Lady of Fatima Catholic School, and I was really excited, and I actually met this really tall girl named Caitlin Shaw, who's still my friend, and another girl whose name I won't mention. We don't really talk anymore. And the 3 of us, were the Chipettes. I was never really into sports. When I tried to play soccer, I picked flowers. I've always liked being the princess of the family. Music, singing, dancing, and swimming was actually something that I did. So from grade 5 to 9, Caitlin and I didn't really talk, even though we went to the same school. I became friends with 3 other girls. 2 of them I won't mention their names, and one of them is Abby, who is still my best friend to this day. And in grade 5, we sang in the talent show and thought we were great. I thought I was going to be a singer when I was younger. It wasn't until grade 7 that I was allowed to wear makeup, even though I always played with it and tried to wear it out. But this is a big thing for me because I was always very creative as a kid, and I loved it. And in grade 6, I became in love with Pretty Little Liars, which started my addiction, which is basically about some girls who get haunted by their best friend who passed away, which this show started my addiction, like Rain, The Walking Dead, Scream Queens, Shameless, Grimm, and a whole other bunch of shows that I don't really have time to mention. Grade 8 was probably the worst year for me. I moved schools because of the boundaries. I went from Lumen Christi to St. Benedict. There was only 5 grade 8s, believe it or not, 2 boys, 3 girls. And it was really sad. The girls that I was friends with, I didn't name them. The reason I don't name them is because they were really mean to me. They swore at me a lot. They called me horrible names. They texted me. Told me nobody likes you. And even a boy in my class started a petition so that people would sign so I wouldn't come back to my school when I missed my best friend. Also, on top of that, the 2 girls in my grade 8 class, made a fake name for me so that they could gossip about me in front of my face. They called me Anna from dance class. I felt really alone. And I tried to just stay on top of my grades and think about my competitive swimming and hang out with my family and watch my TV shows, but a lot of times it was hard because I felt totally isolated and alone. But nevertheless, I luckily got a text from those girls around May, which was just before our graduation, where I got A plus honor rolls, principal's award, and I was the valedictorian. And they had apologized, which was good considering I shared a graduation with their school, which means I got to share a graduation with my best friend at the time, Abby. Over the summer, I went to North Carolina and Quebec for my birthday, which was so nice. I've never actually been to another Canadian province before. And then in grade 9, I started at JV, and I met Caitlin and Abby, and my family has actually expanded because my cousin moved in with us, and he's 19 now, and I have a dog and a cat and a lizard too. So I rekindled my relationship with Caitlin, and Abby and I are still friends. So that's pretty great. I actually love high school aside from the homework and waking up at 8 a.m. every morning, but that's okay. 7 a.m. I should say. I'm actually pretty happy, and I'm on my way to Costa Rica in like 6 days, so that's gonna be great. Anyways, thank you, Miss Brayson, for watching. Sorry this is so late, but you have a hat.